Today we'll be looking at the equation of a line called the median within a triangle, and what we'll be looking at is we'll be looking at it from a specific point on the triangle. Let me first draw down this triangle here, and what we'll do is I'll show you exactly what we're trying to work out, and then we'll talk about the process. Okay, let's plot the point. So minus 3 minus 7, so minus 3 minus 7 should be down here. Okay, so that's the point A. 7. The point B, 8, 1, so that would be my 8, 1 there, so that's a point B. And the point C, 4, 3, so 4 and 3 to there, so that's a point C. Okay, let me just draw the triangle up. And finally join this line here. Okay, so that's our triangle drawn. Okay, I'm looking for a median from A, so I'm going to go to the point A first of all, and what I'm looking at is going across the triangle to the other side, and I'm going to have the line going from A through the midpoint of the line opposite. So if I find the midpoint of that line, which will be there, and then I draw a line through the midpoint and through the point A, this is the line that's called the median, this one that's here. Okay, so it's that line there that I'm going to be trying to find out the equation of. Right, let's see how we're going to go about it. What we're going to do first of all is, just similar to what I was doing on the diagram there, we're going to be finding the midpoint of the line opposite the point that the median comes from. We're then going to look at the gradient between that midpoint and also the point where the median's coming from. And then we're going to substitute the gradient, and we can either use the midpoint or the point that the median comes from into the equation of a straight line. That would be the three-step process that we'll follow. Normally what we'll do beyond that, we would look at a point of intersection of the median with a perpendicular bisector, an altitude, or another median. But I'm not going to be doing that in this video. Well, if you're interested in seeing how the simultaneous equations work between them, what you should do is look at simultaneous equations by elimination. That's another video clip that I've produced. Okay, so let's get on with the question. Right then, so first thing that I did there when we looked at it was to find that midpoint that's there. Right, so let's see how we find the midpoint. So it's the midpoint of the BC. And all I'm going to do there is I'm going to take the mean of the two x coordinates, so that's going to be 4 plus 8 divided by 2, and 3 plus 1 divided by 2. What that should give me is the coordinates of that midpoint there. So that's going to be 12 divided by 2 will give me 6, and 4 divided by 2 will give me 2. So that's the midpoint there that I've found. I was then saying that I'm now going to find the gradient of a line that comes from where the median comes from across to that midpoint. So the gradient, and it's going to be the gradient of A, and I'm going to call this point over here the point M. So how about the gradient of AM? And I'm going to use y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1 to work that one out. Right, let's start with this point here. So I'll go for 2 and I'll subtract off minus 7. And what I've got is 6, so the 6 from here, and what I'll take away is the minus 3. What that gives me on the top will be 9, and 9 on the bottom, so that there's a gradient of 1. Okay, now I've got a point on the line, or I've got 2 points on the line, and I've got the gradient of the line, so what I'll do is I'll substitute, and what I'll do is I'll take the gradient of AM, which equals to 1, and the point I'm going to use, I'm going to just use the point A, and that's minus 3 minus 7, and I'm going to substitute that into the equation of a straight line, which is y minus b equals m x minus a. Right, remember this is my a value here, this here is my b value, and there's my m value, the 1. So it's y minus, and that's going to be minus 7, is equal to 1 x minus, and that's minus 3. Okay, I'm just going to tidy that up a little bit more so I get rid of the double negatives that are there, and I'm just going to leave that like that. And this is where I would expect that you're going to be achieving your mark. What I'm going to do just a bit further, I'm going to prepare it for simultaneous equations, so that if you have to do that, you'll know how to get that into the form. I'm going to have the form of the x first, then it's going to be y, and on the other side of the equals will be the number. Okay, let's multiply this bracket out first. So it's going to be x plus 3. What I'll do is I'll bring the x over to this side, so that's minus x plus y, and I'm taking the 7 over to that side, and that'll give me minus 4. What I could then do is, if I wanted to tidy that up a little bit more, what I could do is I could multiply it by minus 1, and what that would give me is x minus y equals 4. Okay, and that would be that complete. But really the question's complete when we get to this point here. This is just for preparation for simultaneous equations. Right then, so what we'll do next is I've got 4 of these questions. So what you can do is you can freeze the video and you can try it yourself and then see if you get the same solution as I do. Okay, let's go ahead and get the solution to this one. Well, let's plot the points first. So the point 9, 3, so that'd be 9 there and 3 there. So that's point Q, and that's 9, 3. 11, 0, so just off here, so I'll just go to there. That point there would be the point E, and that's 11, 0. And I've got R, which is 7, 1. So 7 along, 1 up. So quite a small triangle we've got here. So point R, 7, 1. Let's just draw the triangle up. Okay. We are, and there we go there. So quite a small guy there. Right then, okay, what we'll do is we're going to find the median from E. So remember what we're doing is we're looking at the line opposite E, so there's E, so it's the point RQ, and I'm looking for that midpoint that's sitting there. So the midpoint of, I'll just call it QR, and remember it's just the average or the mean of these two. So I've got 9 plus 7 divided by 2. And I've got the 3 and the 0 added, the 3 and the 1 added together, and divide that by 2 as well. Okay, so that should give me coordinates of the midpoint that's there, and that would be 16 over 2 will give me 8, and 4 over 2 gives me 2, so that should be 8, 2, so that's looking okay there. I'm then interested in the line that's called the median, okay, which will be this one here. So it runs something like that there. Okay, so that's the line that we're interested in working out the equation of. So let's go for getting the gradient of that line first. So that was E, let's call this point M. So I'm going to go for EM, y2 minus y1, all over x2 minus x1. Right, let's go for 2 minus, and what we're doing is 0, there. And we're going for the 8, and I'm going to subtract the 11. So that's going to give me a value of 2 all over, and that's going to be negative 3. So that's going to be my gradient. I'm going to substitute that gradient, the gradient of EM, which is 2 over minus 3, and the point I'll just choose the point E, which is 11, 0, and what we'll do is we'll put that into the equation of a straight line. Right, so A and B. Let's go. Y minus 0 is equal to the gradient, which is 2 over minus 3, and that's going to be x minus 11. Okay, so I'd be expecting really about there to get the mark for the median. Okay, let's sort this out for simultaneous equations. So I'm going to multiply by minus 3 on this side here, and that's going to get rid of this fraction. So minus 3y, and 0 times minus 3 is just 0, so that's going to be equal to, and I'm going to multiply this side out by 2, so that would be 2x minus 22, and that's me got it into some sort of shape. I'll take the 2x over to this side, gives me minus 2x, minus 3y is equal to minus 22. And what I could do just to try and tidy that up a bit, because I've got minus signs all over the place here, just times it by minus 1. If I times by minus 1, that gives me 2x plus 3y is equal to 22. Okay, and that's the equation of the median in a form where I can use simultaneous equations. Right, on to the third question here. Right, what we have is triangle, again, and it's a median coming from B. I'm going to plot the points, so I've got 3, 5, so that'll be 3 along and 5 up. Okay, that there is the point B, 3, 5. I've got the point E, which is 7 minus 2, 7 minus 2, it should be there, 7 minus 2, and that there was the point E, and point F, which is 1, 0, so 1, 0 would be sitting there on the axis. Right then, so let's go and solve this one. Okay, and what we'd said here, this was the point F, wasn't it? That was 1, 0. Okay, it's a median that's coming from B, so if I put my pen on the point B, it's a line that's going to be coming across to this side of the triangle here. And what I'd be looking at is I'd be looking at the midpoint, which is sitting there. So I can do that by eye. So the equation of the line that I'm interested in will be this line here, going through these 2 points. Okay. Right, so let's go ahead and do that. So finding the midpoint over here. So the midpoint, and I'll call this one M again. That's the point M, so it's going to be BM. That's going to be equal to the mean of the x coordinates. Okay, so that's going to be 1 plus 7 divided by 2, and the mean of the y coordinates, 0 plus minus 2 all over 2. So what that should give me as the midpoint that's sitting here, that would give me 4, and that would give me minus 1. Right, from there what we'll do is we'll work out the gradient of BM using the gradient equation. And what we'll go for is we'll start with the minus 1, and I'll subtract from that. So that was the minus 1 from here. I'm going to subtract 5. What I'll do is I'll start with the 4 from here, and I'll subtract the 3. What that should give me there is I've got minus 6 on the top, and I've got 1 on the bottom. So that gives me really a gradient of minus 6. Let's substitute the gradient BM, which is minus 6, and the point, and we're going for the point B. So I could substitute the point M in, but I'm just going to choose the one that I'm given on the triangle, and that's going to be 3, 5. Okay, I'm going to substitute in to the equation of a straight line. Okay, so I've got A there and I've got B there, and I'm just going to substitute the values in. Y minus 5 is equal to the gradient, which is minus 6x minus 3, and that's where I'd expect to get my mark. Okay, let's prepare it for simultaneous equations by multiplying the bracket out on the right hand side. That'll give me minus 6x, and that will be plus 18. And what we'll do is I'll get the x onto this side here, so 6x plus y, and let's see what we got. We've got 18 on that side, 5 coming over will give me 23. Okay, so what we'd be looking for when we get marks for this type of question, we'd be looking for a mark for the midpoint, a mark for the gradient, and a mark for getting the equation. Let's look at the last question here. Right, same again, let's go ahead. You can freeze the video and try the question yourself. Here we go with the solution. So minus 2 minus 3 for D, minus 2 minus 3, so that's going to be D. I'll go for E, which is minus 2 and 8, so let's go up to 8, up to there, so that's E, minus 2, 8, and for F it will be 2 along, and I'm going 4 down, so that will be here, okay, so that's F, 2 minus 4. Let's create the triangle here, just join the points up. And if you're doing this in your exam, it doesn't need to be as exact as I'm doing it here, but it's good to do a drawing just to get a good understanding of what you're trying to do. So here the median is coming from D, so it's coming from this point here, and what we're looking at is looking for a midpoint between these two points here. So it's from D, and it's the line that's across from that, which is this line here, and if I look at the midpoint, it'll be that one there. So what we're really looking for is a gradient that would be looking like this one here, going through the midpoint and going through the point D. Right then, so what we're going for? We're going for the midpoint of, and we'll go for D, let's see, midpoint between E and F, isn't it? E and F. Average of the, or the mean of the x coordinates, so that would be minus 2 plus 2, all divided by 2. And then the y coordinates, so it's 8 plus minus 4, all upon 2. That should give me an x coordinate of minus 2 plus 2 is 0, 0 divided by 2 is 0. And what we should get there is we get 4 divided by 2, that gives me 2. So that would be 0, 2. So that looks right. And I'll call that point the point M. So let's look at the gradient of dm. From there, what we'll do is we'll take 2, subtracting, and that's going to be minus 3 from the top that's there. And what we've got is we've got the 0. I'm going to subtract minus 2. So that should give me 5 on the top there, and that should give me 0 plus 2 will give me 2. So it's 5 upon 2 is going to be the gradient of that line there. So let's substitute them in. Substitute into, so it's going to be dm, which is 5 over 2, and the point D, which is minus 2 minus 3, and we'll put that into the equation of a straight line. There's my A, there's my B, so y minus minus 3 is equal to 5 over 2 x minus minus 2. Let's just sort that out here with the negative signs. And that there should give me the equation mark in the median. So 1 mark here, 1 mark here, final mark for getting the equation in that form there. Let's prepare it for simultaneous equations. When I have a fraction that looks like this here, what I'm always going to do is I'm going to multiply the left hand side by 2. I'm really multiplying everything by 2, so, but really what I'm looking at is just going for 2y plus 6. That's the 2 gone. I've got 5 times x, and I've got a plus of 10. So it's 5 times x and 5 times the 2. So it gives me 5x plus 10. What I'll do is I'll get the x's onto the left hand side. So I've got minus 5x plus 2y, and that's going to be equal to, so I've got a 10. Bring the 6 over, that becomes minus 6. So that's going to give me 4 there. And if I wanted to tidy it up, I could just multiply by minus 1. And that would give me 5x, that'd be minus 2y, and that equals minus 4. And that would be the equation ready to use for simultaneous equations. Okay, that's the end of this this session. So that's looking at the median. I've already looked at the perpendicular bisector in another video, and I'll be looking at the equation of an altitude in the next one. So hopefully that will help you do the straight line at the higher level. So and hopefully now you can maths.